Happy New Year! That's so goofy.
Why you gotta be trying to be doing me like that? And you calling, you texting, you
Hey y'all, I've not seen y'all since last year. This is the first episode of 2024. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Alexis. I am your host. And this is Read the Room, where we talk about all things going into a life, what makes a life, and transition, and navigating young adulthood and culture in this world from my life to yours. And I am so excited that you're here. If you're returning, welcome back. You already know how we start. We got to check in. So on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being up good, 1 being down bad, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling right now? Right now, today, I feel like I am a 3.5. Not because anything bad is happening, just because there is a lot of movement going around. I told you on the last episode, my house has been getting renovated because the water line in our fridge ruptured and flooded the house, the kitchen, which the house is not big, and it has put us in the hotel for the last 3 months. But today, literally today, right when I am done recording this, we are moving back into our house, and it's bittersweet. I haven't come to enjoy my time in this hotel, but everything has to come to a close. So there has been a lot going on, which is why I'm kind of a 3.5. But my best friend comes in town in 2 days, and she's never been to New Orleans, and I'm so excited to have her. So there's just a lot to do before then that I'm just like, I'm just all over the place. I'm sorry, do y'all know that Rugrats me? Because I probably just sounded crazy if you don't. But I'm all over the place, I feel like. But I am so excited to be here for the first episode. I'm still feeling good. I'm still motivated and trying to stay disciplined. And I first want to say, I apologize for the lie that I sold y'all in the last episode, saying that I will be here January 2nd with a new episode. I was trying to stay on the 2-week schedule. So much had happened. Christmas time was a good time. I've been spending a lot of time with family. I have family in town. I've been resetting and getting things together. I have a lot of new equipment. As you can see, I am team iPad now. I have a new phone. So if you see all my pores and my skin and my boogers and snot, it is because I got a new phone for Christmas. I got a new iPad. Or I'm saying a new iPad. This is my first iPad. I usually am not a tablet girl, but what changed me is literally this podcast and editing, and I'm like, oh my god, I need an iPad. It will be so much more convenient. So I have some new things, and I got some more stuff coming in the mail, and we're gonna start this year fresh, and I have so much stuff I'm anticipating for the new year that I am excited to share with y'all. And y'all know I gotta keep things on the low until it's time. So when it's time, y'all will know. But I'm so excited. I'm feeling very, very hopeful and good for this year. So yeah, new iPad. I'm not with Metro no more. I am with AT&T. I'm kidding. I'm with T-Mobile. But new iPad, new phone, new equipment. Let's go. I'm excited. And today we have all of these. And I had said I am going back home. House has been under renovation. With that, everything has been having to get stripped off the walls and put back up. And yesterday I was there cleaning my bathroom, and I have all these sticky notes, affirmations lined around my bathroom mirror. I have a really big bathroom mirror. It's like this big old square. So I just had it lined all around, and I was taking them down, and I was most likely going to store them or throw them away because some of them are very, very, very faded and old. And I was like, oh my god, this would be such a cute podcast episode. So I thought, what if I go through these affirmations from a different season? I wrote these at the beginning of 2021, January 2021, so exactly 3 years ago. And I was reading through them, and some of them still hit. And some of them I was like, oh, this is interesting. How I would tweak it, what I would change about it, what I would tell my former self. And this season, I've been saying this, but it's been very transitional. But especially 2024, I know there's a lot of people who are going to be physically moving, including myself. And I thought this would be such a cool topic to talk about and have it be centered around affirmations and conversations with ourselves and entering new spaces, and also kind of learning how to reflect on old times, but also recognizing how it's formed us into where we currently are. I read the room for real, taking these down. I was reading them as I was literally in my bathroom and going through it and seeing what manifested, if they did manifest, stuff that I had wrote affirming things that was not the truth at the time, what I would change, how I would tweak it, what I would tell myself then, and tweak for my future self. My mama will always tell me words have power, watch what you speak over yourself, because as a kid, I feel like kids especially, you just be saying stuff, you say stuff you hear, you say stuff that sounds fun, that's cultural, and my mom will always catch me saying certain things and she'll be like, do not say that, don't say that, don't speak that, words have power. And I'll be like, girl, oh my God, like you, not everything is that deep. But very much as I got older, that was always kind of instilled in me, and I became very conscious of what I was speaking, what I would say about myself, even subconsciously, or what I would internally speak to myself. And I think that's so important because it's such a larger conversation to be had around internal dialogues. And I kind of want to preface that with this because I think it really does all connect and kind of offer that space to dive into that. Your internal dialogue, internal critic, how you speak to yourself or about yourself can be tearing you down even before others do. Or it may be tearing you down as a reflection of others. So what people have spoken over you, how we speak to ourselves may be a reflection of what's been spoken to us in our childhood or from other people, and how others talk about us. So that can be in rough ways and critical ways and negative ways, maybe in positive ways and uplifting ways. And that has such an influence on how we speak over ourselves literally into adulthood. When you're a kid and you have people and adults who are so influential in what you think and how you see the world and are literally molding you, and not even adults, but media, culture, different environments, whatever it may be, that really does form your voice for yourself. And you have to be mindful enough to recognize that and where that comes from, what the root of those things are. And this is why it's so important to be mindful of what you say and your actions behind it. That can be whether you're on the receiving end of it or you're on the giving end. That goes for parents, aunties, big cousins, any friend or family with influence. We have a responsibility to be mindful of what we speak and say to younger people, because especially in their formative years and during impressional times, it can really mold how they see themselves and how they eventually end up speaking over themselves, or stuff that can linger and become insecurities or become confusion or become uncertainty literally into their adulthood and beyond. There are grown adults who are still unworking narratives, teases, stereotypes put on them as children. I have these conversations all the time with people. There's so many things that may not seem that deep, or you really don't know what they're going through until you have the chance to open up to people and they say where that stuff is rooted in them. And it's just like, oh my God, it really does all go back to childhood. It's just so textbook. It's crazy. And if you're like a psych major, you know anything psychology or in the social sciences field, everything really is so textbook and clockable. It's scary, but it's also like, is this real life? Like, is it really just that simple? A big topic is breaking generational cycles, breaking generational curses. And a big part of breaking those cycles and generational curses is breaking the thought patterns behind them. It's not enough to just act differently, but your heart posture and your mind literally have to be transformed in order to make sure whatever you're doing is coming out of a place of love and purity. Especially with Black families, I feel like making fun of people, ribbing, teasing, it's almost like a natural part of our upbringing, whether it be with our cousins, our siblings, other family members, our own parents, whatever. It is very much a natural part of our culture to just make everything a joke, and that's fine and dandy. But a lot of the time, you have to develop thick skin in that type of environment, or you'll be perceived as being too sensitive. But some of those jokes really hit a nerve or pang of insecurity that can last well into your 50s, 60s, 70s if you do not deal with it properly. And the crazy part with all of this is, to me, is that the very people who struck those insecurities in you, or who teased you or made fun or made certain jokes that ended up being a much bigger issue for you personally, half the time they don't even have a clue in the world that they were the root or the cause of that, or they spoke something over you that ended up really hitting a nerve or ended up hitting something that hurt you. That's the craziest part to me. And that's really how you don't know how your words can affect or impact somebody. I wanted that to be a brief conversation about internal dialogues and kind of the root of that, where that can come from, and how it is so important to speak positively about yourself and keep track. If you've never thought about how you speak to yourself or what you say when things are quiet, or how you think, or when you make a mistake, how you respond, I think that's a really good indicator. Like if you mess up, you make a mistake, you have a misstep, something frustrates you, notice, take a little inventory to just click it in your mind a little bit of how you speak to yourself when that happens, because that's really the big indicator of when we messed up or do something or are embarrassed or anything like that. Or sometimes even when we're happy and how we try to downplay it sometimes. Like people downplay themselves, or they downplay a situation, or they downplay what's really going on. It's like, no, you could be happy. That's okay. All I'm saying is to say, take inventory of when you feel an emotion and see how you speak to yourself in that. And that'll be a pretty good indicator of the type of dialogue you have with yourself or how you speak to yourself, and see if it's negative or positive, or if it switches or changes. I know for me, it does change or alter. I don't always speak to myself positively, or I'll get frustrated, or there's still things that are very sensitive to me that I'm working on. So it is a process. Some areas you may be really good and uplifting with yourself, and other areas you may be really hard on yourself. And I encourage you to take a glimpse at how that shows and manifests in yourself. So I just wanted to have that conversation about internal dialogue and the importance of it and mindfulness, and it's going to connect to affirmations in a second. And as I said, I'm in a new house. I'm shedding a lot of old things, old relationships, old seasons that are no longer serving me or conducive for me in this season, and entering into another new space physically and mentally in August when I go to grad school. I know this is not unique to me right now. Many people have been moving or are preparing to move, and I mean drastic moves. Like across the country, across the world, different cities. Like we're not just going up the street, but that includes myself. And I hope that this can serve as encouragement and reminders for a future version of myself, as I said, and people who are actually in that transition period right now, because different seasons require different techniques, different things, different people. This is a conversation I've been having and coming up a lot recently with people who are in transition, which I find really interesting to reflect on that with. And I was like, yeah, I think I need to talk about this in the episode. But there's been a lot of discussions I've been having around new seasons and new people in those seasons, or how things change or are different, or how you're going to be such a different person literally a year from now, 6 months from now, by the end of this year. I can only imagine having a debrief in December with everybody who moved or transitioned this year, and just seeing how differently we're going to be. It's exciting for me, and it's nerve-wracking also. It's also kind of daunting because you don't know how that person's going to be. You don't know what experience is going to make you how you're going to be. I think that'll be very, very interesting, which is why I kind of want to do this now in this current space where I'm at. Who am I engaging with? What am I engaging with? And thinking about all the other things that also poured into me and making me to where I am right now. And the idea of seasons and how people serve and see you in different seasons, in different phases of your life, and meet you where you're at in those different seasons. And I talked about this with 4 different people over the span of a week. And I was like, yeah, this is gonna get discussed, because different seasons, people know you in different phases of your life and know that version of you in such a specific way that other people from a previous or a future season just won't know in the same depth. Like my college friends know me on a completely different level than my high school friends. My family knows me on a completely different level than any of my friends. My best friend knows stuff that probably none of y'all will ever know. And I just think about all the different spaces and times and the person I was at those times when they met me and they encountered me. And there's people who are still like been in my life for years. We're talking like over a decade as far as friends, and how they've been able to grow and evolve, but there's still certain things that they just are not going to experience with me like my college friends did, because my college friends were right there. They were close. The proximity was there. I think about that, and I think about how that's not a knock to anybody in a different season, or people who I'm going to encounter, people who I have encountered. Different seasons call for different things, different people, and everyone who I had in a different season served their season and served what they needed for me. I am fully understanding of that, and also have love for everybody in the different seasons. I think about the people I have right now, and then when I go to grad school, how that's going to be just a whole new environment, a whole different grade of people, a whole new season of my life that's going to bring in new community, new relationships. And it kind of intimidates me because I'm so solid. Like everyone who's in my life right now is supposed to be in my life right now. And I love every last relationship that I have currently. And I cannot imagine having more people added to my life and be as fulfilling. That's just a whole different topic I don't want to get into and I don't want to think about too hard, because I know God will provide and I know I will be met and I'm going to have community in grad school and everything, but I just cannot fathom it right now. And if I think about it too much, my brain's going to start hurting. So we're going to move right along. As I enter this new season, this new year, this new house, really, it feels like a new era for real. Like, no corny shit. Like, it really does. It's like a cleansing, like just a whole new palette. And I'm grateful because I feel like I can really enter a new space, and all the baggage that I left in 2023, like November and December and stuff that I had to release, I feel like now it's also reflecting in my physical spaces. And I'm quite happy with that because I don't want to see reminders, and I don't want to also be held on to spaces that are triggers or reminders of other things. So anyways, I want to be aware of where I came from emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, and all that's going into how I currently am behind the scenes, and acutely aware of where I am right now in this moment. So reflecting on things, reflecting on how I handled things before, how I'm handling them now, everything that has caused me to be where I am, and just taking inventory of that and what I hope for the future. And a way I always speak life over myself, and that really reflects where I am in any season, is with affirmations. I have all these affirmations. I meant to count them. I forgot. So we're going to go through them, and I'm either going to go over if I would keep it, what I would tweak or change about it for the future, or what I would say to an older version of myself if something did happen or something switched or altered from what I had wrote. Just a warning, I wrote these when I was 19. I hadn't even turned 20 yet because it was the beginning of 2021. Bear with me. Some of these will probably be corny. They will be cliche, probably, maybe. So bear with me. I'll probably go through some of them quickly, just because I'm like, okay, girl, let's keep it pushing. I did not go through these before, so it's going to be raw. I was reading some of them as I took them down yesterday, but I did not go through every single one. So this will be raw reactions together. We may both be shocked. So let's start. As I said, these are very faded too. Whew. Okay, first one. My trust is restored. You know, this is funny because I'm thinking about what also made me write these, because I was in a very particular time. It was still pandemic-ish. It was, that was just, poor baby. Like, things really didn't start getting good until the end of 2020, or not the end, like the middle of 2021. So yeah, I was reestablishing trust in myself, in others, in God, and I want to speak that over myself. So my trust is restored. You know what? I do think my trust has restored. I do think my trust has been restored in some of those things I had mentioned. So with God, definitely, because he's always faithful and he has come through, not in the ways that I thought, but much better, and with my protection at the forefront. And the particular person I was thinking about when I wrote this, oh baby, the trust was not restored, it was destroyed. Thankfully though, like I have nothing to do with them anymore. But I do think one aspect that I'm still working on, but in a very, very different way. Trust with myself and trusting, as I spoke about in the last episode, my intuition, and with a lot of things that did happen at the end of last year that affirmed a lot of things I've been feeling for years. I definitely am working on trusting myself again and how that looks moving forward, particularly in relation with other people. Yes, I'm still working on trust being restored. If I had to tweak it, I would probably be more specific and say my trust is restored in myself, or I trust myself, something like that. It applies, but for a very different reason now. Next one, I am loved and valued. Aw, I am. If you want to start doing affirmations, or like a really good place to start is with I am statements, and always use present tense. So it's not something I will be, like current tense. Hello? Present tense. I am loved and valued. I am. I'm very loved and I'm valued. And I was saying this, let's see. I was saying this probably because I wanted a particular person to value me more than what I felt. But I always know I'm loved. You are the child of a king. Act accordingly. And I drew a little crown too. I am. I'm the child of the Most High God. And so that means I act like a princess. Hello? Yeah. This one, I remember writing this one. I giggled a little bit because I was like, I'm a princess. I sit on the throne. Like, what are you talking about? Or my daddy sits on the throne. But like, yeah, we're not going to get too deep into the analogy. But I'd still, yeah, act accordingly. Like, literally, favor and grace and love is over you. Come on now. Yeah, get it together. Yeah, I would keep that one. God is with me in everything. He is, boo. He is, Pookie. He is. God is with me in everything. Again, I had a lot of uncertainty at this time. So these seem like I was speaking to my anxiety or depression, or I had a lot of worry. It's because I literally was. Like, I was in the middle of all of that. So yeah, God is with me in everything. He is. And he was with me in that. He showed out. Yeah, 2021, he ended up showing out. He did his thing. He did what needed to be done that year. And then 2022, baby. Oh, yeah. 2022 was like my best year to date. Even in your process, you're enough. Oh, I would keep this one. Yeah, I would. I definitely would keep this one. And I think it's relevant because we're always going to be in a process. There's never going to be a place where we're going to arrive somewhere and then stay there, because then that means you're going to be stagnant and complacent and you're going to plateau. And that's not what we want. We should always be striving to be working towards something, better people, accomplishing goals, working on ourselves internally, whatever that may be for you. So yeah, even in your process, you're enough. You don't have to arrive somewhere to be worthy. You don't have to get to a place. I think that's a big lie that's sold to us in culture. Even with the whole like affirmation, spirituality, mantra, this and the third type stuff. People be like, oh, how you gonna love somebody if you can't love yourself type thing. Or like you have to arrive at a certain place to be able to unlock or access certain other experiences in life. And that's not true. You're always going to be in the process. You're always going to get into something and be exposed to so much more. We're going to be able to love deeper, learn deeper, have more wisdom, have more knowledge, have also healing within yourself to maybe heal parts of yourself that you just cannot do by yourself. So yeah, in your process, you're enough. You don't have to arrive somewhere to be deserving of something. Yeah, I felt that one. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. I didn't believe this at the time. I sure didn't, because I wanted to be somewhere else. I did not want to be there. But obviously looking back and reflecting, everything happens in the time that it's supposed to happen. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I probably wouldn't keep this because I don't feel like I need it as much right now. Something I've adapted these past couple of years is understanding right when things pivot or change or don't go the way I want, that it must be for a greater reason, or it must be something that just wasn't meant for me at that time. And I had a hard time kind of letting those ideas go when I was younger. And by younger, I mean when I wrote those when I was 19. So I don't think I necessarily would need that. I think that's something that actually manifested itself in my life. Yay. God's come through before and he'll do it again. Trust, in all caps at the bottom. Y'all probably cannot see that. Maybe y'all can with that new camera. But yeah, God comes through before, he'll do it again. I have nothing to say to that. That's, again, truth. That's truth. He's not going to leave you. And that's something I did not believe writing this. I was not fully convinced or certain that God would come through for me in a way that I wanted, or that I thought, or that I was hoping for, or that I felt like he had confirmed to me. Yeah, I wrote this. This was very much like a faith statement. But guess what? He'll do it again. And again. And again. Yeah. Trust. I feel like this is another one similar to the last one, where I kind of walk this out more consistently in my life, where I don't need to have it in my face reminding me all the time, but very much something happens, I'm like, God's still going to come through for you. It's maybe a delay. That's not the final answer. It's some people are going to get this. It's an interruption, not a disruption. That's what a message my TD has sent me last week from Sarah Jakes Roberts. Okay, next one. Don't let others' actions and ways influence who you are. Man, yeah. Yeah. I would keep this one. I would keep this one because I still get tried to this day. Yeah. I've very much come to this point last year, and I always thought it, but I would still very much act out of line sometimes. If someone has to get you to the point where you acting, quote unquote, out of character, you're acting outside of yourself, you're doing things, thinking things, wishing things that is not of yourself, that's not of who you are one striving to be or who you typically practice, or your pretty, neutral state, they probably should not be around you, or you should not be allowing them to get that point out of you. Like, there needs to be a boundary, there needs to be a distance, there needs to be something, they need to be gone, whatever. But also, something my therapist told me, she coming back into the picture, y'all. Something else that she told me, I was contemplating doing like some things last year, and I guess wanted to be petty and was like, should I do it or should I not? They didn't do X, Y, and Z for me for my birthday. They didn't do this, that, and the third. I'm like, I really do want to do this because it's a big deal to me. Birthdays are a big deal, or this is nice. And she was like, if that's what you do, if that's who you are, do not let someone else change you. Do not let someone else's response or how they are going to act change you. Be aware of it. Be aware of what could happen. But do not let that change your actual heart of what you want to do. And if it's genuine and good, then do it. And if their response may frustrate you or aggravate you, then maybe don't. But if you're aware of it and you can be like, okay, they may not respond in the way that I thought. They may not give me the hype that I want, but I'm still going to do it because I still want to do it. Then do it. Don't let other people change you or change your heart or your spirit. Don't let others' actions and ways influence who you are. This is a good one. How would I tweak this? Because I feel like this is kind of base level for me now. I feel like there's a way I can elevate this for moving forward, and I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know, there's a way I would tweak this. Maybe something like, don't let your past have a hold on your future, or something related to that. Take my time with these. I can't come straight off the dome with this. But something to that extent of, don't be strangled by your past. Like, be able to fully step into what you're supposed to in this season and not letting so much stuff from past experiences or whatever have a hold on you or influence what could be happening so much. Something around that. Let's see. Oh, I'm proud of you. I am. I'm very proud of myself. And this meant a lot at that time because, yeah, this was another faith statement for me at the time. Because that's not something I told myself a lot of, like, I'm proud of you. So, and it's something I kind of do now, take a moment and, like, recognize, like, look at all this other stuff. Like, do not stay in that place of a cycle of, oh, I have X, Y, and Z to do. Like, it's not enough, it's not enough. Look at what you've already done. I have to be very conscious of that. So this is sweet. My thoughts do not control me. As I said, a lot of these are going to be like anxiety centered probably. And this is definitely one of them. Yeah. Girl, you'll be okay. It's amazing to me to think how much I struggled with that stuff just like a few years ago. It doesn't have as big of a stake in my life now. Like, we'll get into the reflections at the end. But yeah, my thoughts do not control me. Girl, you're going to be okay. That was what I would tell her. It's going to be okay. You'll have more tools. Because I wasn't even in therapy at this time. This is like all self stuff, child. Like, I was still looking for a therapist. What's this one? God has you covered. Period. Literally wrote period at the bottom. I wasn't just saying that. He does. Again, a lot of these are just rooted in like truth, like spiritual truth. Yeah, he has you covered from head to toe, the armor of God. You are a light. Yeah. This is something I always strive to be. I think this is something I will never, never, never get old for me, of like being a light, being a reflection of God's light, being a light to other people. Anyone who you come in contact with, I definitely try to be that. Like, that's literally a prayer I have. It's like one of my daily prayers of like, Lord, let me be a reflection and good representation of you. Let me show others, whoever I come in contact with, whoever I encounter for today, whoever you put in my path, let me be able to be a light or a positive influence, good energy, whatever, to them. And that's something I don't think I will ever stop praying, because I always want to be able to be a light to people, because you really don't know who one, you're going to encounter in a day, and two, what influence you can have on them by just being good, by being a good person, having good vibes, just sharing your energy and insight, your wealth, your kindness, whatever it may be. So this is something that's never going to go out of style for me. My circumstances do not determine my future. Period. Come on, damaged but not destroyed. This is similar to like the one from a couple notes back. Well, maybe it's not similar. It's something similar, I would say, of what I was going to tweak it to. My circumstances do not determine my future. They don't. Whatever you're currently in, that doesn't have to be your destiny. Ugh, we just had a whole series on this for Transformation Church. Yeah. Child, I can talk about this for days and days and days. Your circumstances do not determine your future. Oh my God. Oh yes, this reminds me of a Instagram post I had just seen a couple of days ago where I sent it to my friends and I was like, this is like so beautiful. I love the way they worded this. But it was like one of those like little graphics or whatever, and it was somebody gardening. And they were like, a gardener never complains about what their flowers are not, or compares their flowers to like fully bloomed flowers. They just tend to the conditions that they're currently in so that they can blossom and flourish. Something like that. I'm like paraphrasing very extremely rough right now, but you get the gist of it. And that was so beautiful to me. I just love the way they worded it, because all we can do is tend to the circumstances that we're currently in and what we're experiencing, and pour into that in order for us to flourish and blossom down the line. It's really a thing of like working with what you got, or like where you currently are, like meeting yourself where you are. And it may not be perfect, it may not be ideal, your soil may not be fertile, you may not have the right tools at the time, but being able to be patient enough to tend to yourself, because this can go, there's so many layers to this. Because also thinking about people who may have all the resources, who may have the fertile soil, who may have the good soil, the miracle grow, all that stuff, and how it seems expedited, it seems quicker because they have all that access to those things. And if you don't, or your soil is not as fertile, or you're dealing with dirt, it's going to take more time and more intention to tend to yourself and be patient and grow. But at the end of the day, all you can do is tend to your circumstances, allow yourself to grow and get to where you need to be for a different season. So that's what that reminds me of. My circumstances do not determine my future. Where you currently are does not have to be your destiny. I already said that, but yeah. I don't stress over what I can't control. Aw, this is something I'm still working on. And it's something I'm realizing I'm still working on. I thought I was doing better with it until I got in therapy. And something she constantly has to remind me or ask me is, can you control that? What can you control in the situation? And I'm like, okay. So yeah, that's something I think I still very much actively work on, is do not stress over what you can't control. As I said in the last episode, I like to know, anticipate, plan in order to know and control how I'm going to respond and feel like I have a hold on things or have some type of control over what's going on. So this is very important still and relevant. I don't stress over what I can't control because it's very hard for me to not. This too shall pass. This measly ass sticky note. Poor baby. I was like trenches, y'all. Like 2021, the beginning of 2021 was rough. Like there was just so much going on. My like roommate, who was also like a good friend of mine, she had to leave, so I was gonna be living by myself again. It was COVID still, so I was like, damn, I'm gonna be completely isolated. I was, oh my god, felt like I was like, all my friends were just far or weren't around. It was just a lot like going on, and again, just relationships. So yeah, that's literally all. I just want this to pass. I was like, I just want to be over, and it is. It did pass, baby girl. You're good. Better. Oh my god, poor thing. Better days are ahead. Heart. They are better day. Some of the best days were actually ahead. Looking back, better days are ahead. You got this, girl. Oh my god. Oh, I was like so. Yeah, 2020 and 2021. Poor thing. The end of 2019 too. Just the first couple years, the first few semesters of college. Yikes. You have a purpose. Don't let things distract you from it. Ooh, I would keep this, and again for different reasons, but this is very, very relevant. I was about to pluck it again. This is very relevant because I am walking in a new purpose right now. Clearly, we're here. You're watching me. Hi. And my goals for myself in this season and this year is discipline and consistency and having a routine. Yeah, discipline is like the big thing for me this year. So don't let things distract you from it. Yeah, having those boundaries in place and to be consistent, because consistency outweighs motivation. Like you can be motivated, but motivation goes in and out. So be consistent and disciplined. So that's what I'm working for with this whole thing this year, or just moving in general, having that as like a really solid principle in my life. Without school, like I think that's the hard part for me, is having that structure without school or having anything to build it around. It's at my own will, and that's the part that's really hard, because when I'm in school, when I have a job or internship opportunity, whatever, it's very easy for me to structure my time because there's something to structure it around. But with all this time and taking this stuff on, it's been very different for me because I'm not usually a very tight structured person. So yeah, I have a purpose. Don't let things distract you from it. I would keep that. This is actually very, very relevant for me right now. At that time, it was, I can't even think about like, I don't even know what this will be around. Maybe people, like being distracted by people, or like, I don't know. I don't even know what that could have been. Maybe I was just saying stuff in general. I don't know. But that's relevant for me now. Shit, I might put that on my wall. Nobody can offer what you have. And the you is underlined. I this is funny. Yeah. Nobody can offer what you have. This is something I still, again, it's kind of embedded in my life. I kind of believe this then too, but I just wanted to see it more often than when I was seeing it. But this is something that really kind of changed the way I saw myself a lot, or helped with comparison, or helped with staying on my track and running my course, is there's no one who can offer what you have, do what you do, how you exactly do it, and really you can be who you are. That's something that really, 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 nobody can offer what you have, because they can't do it in the way that you do. They can't think the way you do. They don't have your mind. They don't have your upbringing. They don't have your background. They don't have your current life. They're not you. And don't be intimidated by what others can do or bring to the table. I always felt intimidated, like if I don't do it, someone else is going to come do it, or someone can do it better. But no one is going to do it in the way that you specifically do it. And there's going to be people around you, things, places that you have access to, that you touch, your spheres of influence that you have access and influence to. So I feel like that's still pretty relevant. What's for you won't miss you. Yeah. This is one of those things I like would hear at the time, and I'm like, that sounds really good. Like, I need to hear this more and be reminded, because I think that's another fear I would have of, what if this doesn't work out, or what if this doesn't go the way I want. Like, what if I want this and it doesn't happen? What's for you will not miss you. What's truly for you will be for you. I've trusted this a lot more in these last few years. I will say this has kind of manifested itself, and I mean, it will continue to manifest itself. This isn't something that you arrive to, but it's something I believe a lot more, and I don't really have as much of a fear about. Even when I see other people doing other things, I'm like, oh, that's cool, or like, oh, maybe I should be doing more. My time always comes. So I feel like this is something I have more faith in now. Have faith even when you don't understand. Whew. Yeah. This is something I feel like for every believer, or every spiritual person, or whatever you believe in, this is something that you are always gonna have to work out, of having faith for stuff that you don't see, that you being obedient or listening or doing things that don't make sense, that you don't quite understand, that you don't have all the answers for. Yeah, having faith when you don't understand. I agree with that one too. And I don't feel like that one's fully come to pass. I feel like for what I was having faith for at the time that I don't understand, now that it's come to a close, I understand better than I did at that time for certain things, the way they happened. And I'm sure things will always come up as you learn and you gain experience, how things have changed, or oh, why that happened to happen in that specific way, or oh, this influenced that. As you just reflect and you learn and you get older, there's going to be things I probably still realize from what I was particularly talking about in that situation now, 3 years later, 4 years later, 5 years later. Like, there's going to be things that just keep coming up. Release control. Release is in all caps, sorry. Release control and trust in God. He doesn't fail. Again, a lot of these have to do with trust and my anxiety and uncertainty and truths that needed to be rooted in God. I feel like for what I needed it for, I released it. So yeah, girl, I'll say this manifested. I attract peace, love, and happiness. Literally, I have the tongue. Like, I'm reading these notes and I'm doing the faces, or how I know I wrote it. So yeah, I attract peace, love, and happiness. I do. I attract peace, love, and happiness. You get what you give out, and I try to give out peace, love, and happiness. Hopefully, I'm trying to remain in this place where I can give it and receive it, and it's just a cycle of being poured into things, and people pouring into you, things pouring into you. And oh, did it manifest itself? It did. A lot of peace, love, and happiness happened literally like my birthday that year. God, I will never forget that. I have such good friends. I say this every time. My 20th birthday that year, I was like crying going into I never cry on my birthday. My birthday is a freaking holiday. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh my God, my birthday. But like the last few years, it kind of has been that way. But for my 20th, oh, that was like, I feel like I was having a freaking crisis, like an existential crisis. And I was only turning 20. Because I was like, oh my God, the 20s, everyone talks about your 20s. Like, I'm not going to be a teenager anymore. Like, I don't want to go into all this tumultuous, unknown land. And I think my best friend knew kind of what I was going through. Because I wasn't, no, I'm not going to say I think she did kind of know what I was going through. And I was literally crying, like midnight, crying going into my birthday, which never happens. And I got up and I twerked a little bit and shook some ass and listened to some upbeat music. And literally like 12:07, 12:10 or whatever, it was basically a freaking surprise party. My friend showed up with like all the little friends I had on campus, and she showed up and surprised me. And this literally, I know this is a tangent, but this story is just, it hits my heart so much, because to think about why I wrote this, like I attract peace, love, and happiness, to think like I wasn't super happy and like I just wanted peace. And literally 4 months later, my best friend to do that, to see me in that way and bring my little handful of people I had on campus who I liked. And then that's really how our friend group formed. Like from that night, like we all knew each other, but we wouldn't all like hang out together. But like we were all like mutuals basically. And that was the first time we all hung out together as a group, was my birthday. And because Courtney coordinated that and surprised me with it, and like showed up at my door with them and had brownies and balloons and everything. And we just hung out until like 4 a.m. and it was just so fun. And we started just hanging out again after that. And it was great. And that's the friend group I have to this day. So to think I wrote like I attract peace, love, and happiness, and I literally attracted that in people and the friends I had for like the rest of college and the rest of life, because we are locked in for lifers. Yeah, I would say this like definitely manifested itself, and not even with people, but like all the opportunities and stuff that I accomplished in college that poured into me so much. Yeah, girl, life got so much better. Just you wait. Let's see. This is just the process, not the final destination. Oh, that's so corny. Oh. That's so cringy. It's true, but it's cringy. I just have to remind myself again. I just have to keep going, child. I really just needed things to pass. Like, I just wanted to get out. I wanted to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was just so sad and scared. Oh, God. Okay. Next. Faithfully embrace and serve this season. Yeah, this is good. Okay, now we're getting into something. Faithfully embrace and serve this season. I not only did I want to make it pass, but something I kept reminding myself is to not just get through it, but like process as you're in it and serve what you're supposed to in that season. Because every season is for a reason. I'm so sorry, y'all. Y'all literally could scroll on Instagram and see what I'm talking about right now. Like, this is nothing special. But like things really do happen. Like, whatever season you're in is molding you, shaping you, defining you, sharpening you for another season of what you're supposed to be stepping into next. No matter how terrible it is, no matter how great it is, no matter all the stuff that goes on in it, it's building you for something, and it's equipping and preparing you for something that you just don't know. Or sometimes you may have an inkling or do know. Because sometimes you will know what season you're in, and sometimes you won't realize it until after the fact. Yeah, I wanted to get past it, but I also wanted to be present. I didn't want to just endure things. I wanted to embrace whatever I was supposed to be faithful to and whatever I was supposed to serve, and store it well over that season so I can be prepared and equipped and sharpened for the next season. I think this is still relevant, but I feel like I'm a lot more present now, even when tough stuff is going on. I'm a lot more present now, like just feeling it through, getting through it, and knowing that it's not the end destination, and that there will be a time that comes where things will be better. I think this is something that it manifested because I'm not in that season anymore, and I did embrace it. I made a switch. I did start embracing it or doing things differently. When I did make that switch, I started enjoying myself a lot better. But this is relevant for a different reason. I don't know if it would necessarily be relevant now for a future version of myself, because I feel like I am serving this season and I am embracing just all the changes, all the unknowns, and even moving forward and moving period. I am also kind of excited to embrace that and all the changes or differences that will come with that. So yeah, this manifested itself, and it's still something that's always going to be relevant, or you have to be mindful of. This one I can barely even read, but I got it a little bit. Oh, I am anxiety and fear free. I have like the little diamonds. That's the one thing you can't see is the little diamonds, the little like sparklies. Yeah, again, a lot of this is anxiety related. I was struggling with anxiety real bad at that time. I am anxiety and fear free. I did not believe that. That was a fake statement, but I am at a better place now, and I'm not nearly as bad as I would be when it comes to like anxiety. Okay. Oh my God. Girl, give it up. No L's, just lessons. That's how I know I wrote it too. I got this literally from a Big Sean lyric. Literally, you know, what song is it? Frick. No, well, okay, what Big Sean says is, I'll turn all my W's to M's. Yeah, I flip those. I think there's another lyric, though, that's like, no L's, just lessons. Something like that, child. I know I got it from a song. And I was like, ooh, that's good, that's good. Write that down, write that down. I literally know that's how I was. Yeah, no L's, just lessons. That's crazy. I'm a blessing. And if someone doesn't... Take me out. This is so embarrassing. I'm a blessing. And if someone doesn't see that, ... their loss, in all caps. Same person, same situation. I was not feeling valued, clearly, but I knew my worth, and that's the part that effed me up. Girl, this manifested itself, because it is their loss. This full circle manifested itself. God, yeah, that's just so funny. Yeah, it's their loss in all caps with the ... and exclamation point, and I underlined. I did a curvy underline under blessing. Like, I meant this. I was standing 10 down on that business. What was I? Because it took me. Anyways. Not everyone deserves access to you. Yeah, this is always gonna be true for me. This is a staple in the Alexis Reed book of self. Like this, I'm a strong believer. One thing I'm gonna do is set a boundary. Confrontation does not scare me. If I need to take a step back from you, if I need to fall back, if I need to take space for myself, oh baby, trust I will do that. There will be signs, not only signs, there will be communication. I will let you know I need to do this for me. And not everyone deserves access to you. They don't. This is something that's a constant cycle. That's like one of my staple affirmations too. Like that, like I am a light and not everyone deserves access to you. Or be mindful of how you exchange your energy, what you give energy to. Anything related to that, that's staple affirmations for me, because you really do have to be mindful of what you put your energy into. Not even just people, things, ideas, thoughts, media. Just be very mindful of what you ingest and what you intake, and not just food, babes. Not food. You're greater than your mistakes. We can damage but not destroyed. That's basically, that's the same thing. I'm just saying the same thing in different ways, babes. You are greater than your mistakes. I know what I was talking about. I was particularly thinking about mistakes I had made my freshman year, literally my first semester. Just being impulsive. That's what I was doing. I was being impulsive, making decisions that I did not think through or double check with God. I was double checking with other people and not God. And I had so much grief around that and regret. And I don't like to have regret, but I just always had such grief around some decisions I had made that I feel like changed the relationships moving forward and just never got back to the same, and just produced residual things in my life with other situations. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into it, but I know I was writing about situations from things I had literally done when I was 18, fresh out of high school. You're better than your mistakes. You are. Those mistakes, I'm realizing, were not really too much of mistakes now, looking back on it. It all worked together. I feel like there were some things, though, I knew at 18. I kind of honor myself for it, looking back, of like having this the urgency and the strength to do it, and recognizing things, like getting out of things really quickly, and sometimes too quickly, but like getting out of things. And girl, you were just very eager, and I respect myself for that at that time. I try to think things more through now. So sometimes my fault, but anyways, again, we're not gonna get into that. This, for what I was particularly talking about, it did manifest myself, but that's just a constant reminder of you're not your mistakes. God's a healer, all caps bolded, and redeemer, all caps bolded. And that includes you and your circumstances. Yeah, he will redeem. He will heal you. This manifested itself. Again, knowing what I was talking about. This manifested itself. Not necessarily in the ways that I thought, but far better, because it's not relying on other people or other relationships. Like, he healed and preserved me and redeemed things within myself. So yeah, that manifested itself, girl. Don't dwell on the past and don't worry about the future. This kind of relates to some of the other things I talked about at the beginning of this whole shebang. Don't dwell on the past and don't worry about the future. Be present. That's, I feel like, something basic we hear a lot too, of staying present. People say like, oh, anxiety is worrying about the future and depression is being stuck on the past. I don't necessarily agree with that, but something that people say that sounds good, quote unquote. But related to that, don't dwell on the past and don't let it impact your future. Just being present. I was trying to work on being present and being mindful at that time, clearly. Got 2 left. I'm growing and healing to become a better version of me. I have a smiley face. I am. You are. You are. You're such a better version of yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This manifested, but we're always growing and healing. I think I would be very pleased with where I am right now from 3 years ago. I am very pleased. It's very pleasing to me and my homegirls. Last one. This is a kind of a good note to end on. I am confident. That's another staple one where no matter where I'm at, no matter if I'm feeling low, if I'm feeling high, if I'm feeling really confident, if I'm feeling lesser confident, I'm confident is always going to be an affirmation for me. I am confident. I feel like if I had to tweak that to move forward, I would probably be more specific again. So like, what am I confident in? I am confident in my abilities. I am confident in what I have to offer. I am confident in my creativity. I am confident in my wisdom. I am confident in my intuition and trust. I'm confident in myself, my beliefs. There's so many ways I can get specific with that. That's probably how I would tweak it moving forward, instead of just being like, I'm confident. Because I know that's like, I literally know. I was just like, oh, I'm confident, girl. But like, how are you confident? Because there's things you can be confident in some areas and not be confident in other areas. So that's how I would tweak that moving forward. And that's the last of it. Oh, you little cliche 19-year-old. You still have some wisdom, though. You're still trying, and that's good. Affirmations, mantras, speaking in life is something that I'll always end up going back to as a part of my routine, because it truly does change the atmosphere. It truly does shift something in you. And sometimes I stray away from it. Sometimes I don't do it every morning, but I always find myself going back to it in one way or another. And I really do feel like eventually, when you start saying it and speaking it, you get in that routine. That's what you start believing for yourself, and that's what you start thinking about. I'd be in my car on my way to class, 8, 9, 10 a.m., saying my affirmations. So if you ever saw me driving in my car and like waved at me or spoke to me through the windshield or whatever, and you saw me yapping my mouth or my mouth was going to I was probably either saying affirmations if my day had just started, or I was probably singing a Maverick song or something. Also thinking about all the things that would be so challenging for me before, we're now thinking about the ways that I've handled it and appreciating that, especially this past year, because despite 2023 just being very turbulent and everything that happened, all that transition would have taken me out 3 to 4 years ago. Everything that switched and changed so abruptly and quickly, that would have knocked me out. So I think about how I've handled it this year and how really handling it has made it so much better, and handling the chaos hasn't made it feel quite as anxiety inducing as it would before. And I'm very grateful for that. And I know that's not something unique to me. That's something that I've talked to other people about, where they feel like last year, the way they've handled things, they can be proud of themselves for that. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of you for that. And the tools and wisdom I have now that I didn't even have 2 years ago allowed me to handle that chaos so much better. My reflection for you, ending this and wrapping this up, is, do you practice affirmations? Do you believe in affirmations? Have you done affirmations before? And what can you speak over yourself now that you want to be true for a future version of yourself? So that's what I'm leaving you with. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I will see y'all next time for episode 4. Bye. Have a great day. I love you.